All right, so today I want to talk about honesty. It's one of the 5 pillars in my sober community. I'll talk about them all on another vid, but honesty is a key part of the recovery process. Honesty and community are definitely 2 of the biggest keys. And they kind of go hand in hand, which I'll talk about. But, I was saying on a call today how, I was basically lying my whole life. I definitely had an especially cunning mind where I thought I was smarter than everybody else and could outsmart them and could outsmart, with drinking really, continue to try to outsmart myself. But back growing up, I remember I had to get a bad report card signed. And I went to my mother who was in the bathroom doing her makeup. And I presented myself as a UPS delivery driver with a clipboard and, manifest for her to sign at the bottom. And of course, it was a piece of paper on top of that report that needed to get some report card that needed to get signed. So I said, signature, please. And she even started to sign it. And then she said, wait a minute, and pulled out the paper, and there it was. And I got caught. But for the most part, I got away with lying my whole life. And I remember my mother lecturing me about it and saying going to get me in trouble, etc. And those of us with the alcohol disorder, we know it's just lying just comes second nature, hiding and lying, or drinking. And it's awful. I have a buddy recently told me his wife had caught him with a bunch of empties in his work bag. And without having any notice that was going to happen, on the fly, he said, oh yeah, that's Jim at the office. He's got a bit of a problem trying to help him out with. And she completely bought it. Because why wouldn't she? Because we're so convincing, and we definitely have extra cunning minds. I need to research if that's part of, it's got to be a commonality with this, because we've all got that voice in our head that, really isn't us. It diverges from us. It's the voice of the neural pathway that we built up that thinks that alcohol is the answer to everything. That voice doesn't take no for an answer. That's how I know it's not us, because we'd all be the best salesmen in the world. But subliminally, we are. With me, it's just, I could talk myself into anything and lie my way out of anything. And, including with alcohol, I could not accept the idea that this liquid was going to beat me. So of course I didn't want to be honest about it. In my community, it wasn't until one day I went to share on the head woman's called Laura McCowan, the author of We Are the Luckiest. And my community is the Luckiest Club. And she has about 400 people on her call. She does once a week. It was Tuesday morning, 8 a.m., and I didn't think it was going to be any different that week. I didn't drink the day before, as I often did on Monday and Tuesdays. Then I go back to my pizza shop on a Wednesday and start back up again. So I didn't think anything of it that Monday when I didn't drink. But I wanted to talk in her call. I was thinking of buying a new car. I sensed I was at a crossroads and ready to level up in my life, and I was going to hit her up for some free coaching and all that. And a buddy, luckily, Matt, had called me early that morning before the 8 a.m. call, and I told him what I was going to do. And he said, the problem with you is, you don't tell anyone where you're at. You're not honest with them about it. You're sharing your good days, and, I'd be honest, and I would talk like I had it all figured out, and then I wouldn't get on the day or two later and say that I had slipped. And it's amazing the bravery and the honesty of the people that did. So, he really got through to me that day for a change. He was right. And I got on and I declared, as I've talked about, that this was my day 2. And then I decided right then and there I was going to declare it was my final day 2, in front of the biggest call of all of them. I tried about a month earlier to declare my day count, but it didn't even stick for a week. But this time, I did it in such a big venue. I said, I'm going to keep this up. I don't want to have to come back next week and say I had to start over again. So that's where I started declaring, giving daily acceptance speeches and declaring my day count. But I really wanted to make it through that week to get to day 9 and declare it. And I did. And then I declared day 16, day 23. And now I'm on day 312. And it all started with being honest. And tying that into honesty and community, it's a great way to practice being honest is by joining a sober community. It's amazing. Most people start off as lurkers, i.e. preferably learners, and you see other people being honest. And eventually it gets through to you. And you can start there. They're judgment-free Zooms, and everyone just worried about themselves. So typically that's how it works. You hear other people doing it, and eventually you become the one. And you realize how great and how cathartic it feels to be so honest. Honesty heals. And you can defy your past. You can absolutely define your past. And I then started being super honest with my therapist and with my coach, who are already, supposed to be non-judgmental, but just like people lie to their doctors about their drinking, they don't care either. They're non-judgmental. They do not care. Most of them have drinking problems themselves, but they also want to just help you get better. So, I started being honest with everybody, and it felt so good. It also held me accountable to so many more people. And now I'm doing these videos, and I do daily ones, short ones on Facebook and Instagram, where I just give tell my truths, and it feels amazing. And the feedbacks have been amazing, and it helps others as well. So it's great, acceptance, responsibility, and honesty. They're all key parts of doing the work, and something we all need to do. Everybody needs to do it. It's just those of us with the disorder, as Laura McCowan says, we can't afford to be unwell. We have to do this work, and that's part of what makes us the luckiest. So, we're called to do the work. Most just don't answer that call, but we have to. When you have a substance abuse issue, it forces you to do the work, and a big part of it, again, is being honest. And that includes admitting you've got the problem. A lot of people don't like an AA where you have to declare that I'm an alcoholic. I understand not liking that word. But whether you admit that out loud or not, just, acceptance and being honest that you process alcohol differently. Hopefully, if you've heard my other talks, it's not that big a deal. It's only made a big deal by society, but it's no different than a celiac that processes gluten differently. So just the ability to accept that and be honest about it will radically change your life and accelerate your recovery. So that'll do it. As always, please like, share, subscribe, and remember, stronger, sober. Thanks.